Hey guys, so welcome to Business Shares, and today is the second episode of current trend market. As in, I'm going to be talking about the causes of the uptrend, downtrend, and side trend. So let's get started. Now, if you haven't watched the first video, you need to watch that first. I will link that in the card on the and which side is that? Yeah, so just watch the first video and then you can continue watching this so that there is a connection. I'm going to be starting with the causes of uptrends. Now, what is uptrend obviously is when there is uh, when there is injection of funds in the stock market, the market prices go high. So there are multiple factors. Actually, I just listed a few of them. Some of the factors that I've found out and I thought about, I will type it down. A stable financial position, that is high performance in terms of profit making and revenues on a monthly, quarterly, or yearly. So every year, the companies need to furnish their financial statements, and having a good financial statements means that you have a high value of assets and your liabilities. That is the share capital and the reserves that you're holding, and obviously the profit that you make in the year end, it talks a lot about the company, and prima facie that is what actually makes the investors in general put more and more money. Huge contract received, that is if it comes in news that a company has backed a huge contract, it will cause cash inflow. Now when a company has received a huge contract, it can be the government or it can be private, but when it comes to huge contracts, that some suppose is a merger between two companies, just like how Walmart and Flipkart did. That was a big kind of stakeholding. Probably this is a very good news for Flipkart. Actually, foreign project that, regarding mining, or whether it is for setting up new factories or setting up new buildings or setting up new projects, the company gets a huge contract of receiving certain very high of sum of money. They can actually use that money to cut off their debts. So this is also a positive outlook for the company. Hence, this impacts the stock market. Declaration of dividend, that is company distributes its profits to its shareholders. Obviously, when a company is distributing dividend, it means it's free money to the investors. So investors decide to buy the shares of the company that is declaring dividend. Just if today the dividend is declared, immediately tomorrow the companies start buying new shares of that company so that they get certain sum of dividend, and that obviously causes inflow and the market prices go high. New director or new officer is appointed, that is if the person who is appointed is renowned in the commercial world, investors react positively. Now if there is a director who has done very good in the previous company that he was working in, and now he has been appointed as a new director in another company. So this acts on to the positive side of the company, because finally there may be someone who can uh, get the performance better, get higher profits, make the company perform better, cut their losses, cut their expenses, unnecessary expenses rather. Government investment, that is the government has to hold a percentage of stake, showing its confidence in the company's performance. Now if the government, obviously all companies that are issuing an IPO and are listed on stock exchange need to be converted to private company first, because they can't just issue shares. Like private companies can't issue shares to the public. So yeah, and then if the company decides, or to hold a stake in the company, like buy a certain percentage of the shares of the holding, then it's a good thing for the investors, because then it means that the government has confidence in the company. Yeah, and obviously, if you see in the current scenario, since the past 1 or 2 years, the world has been in the pandemic era currently, and because of the COVID lockdown, because of the coronavirus, there has been lockdowns, and this caused a lot, for the government to take a decision to shut all the activities, the commercial activities, and that is why there was no business taking place, and that's why it had its impact on the stock market in a very big way. So yeah, I put those points as well. The important point right now is that the reduction in the number of COVID cases, overall deaths, and an increase in recoveries. It helps in the outlook of the entire market, because since the activities are not taking place, there is the only way to for a person. can earn some kind of income is from the stock market. Hence, when there is a drop in the COVID cases and there is an increase in the recoveries, and there's a decrease in the deaths as well. It shows that you know it shows the confidence in the government. It shows the confidence in the pharmaceutical industry, the hospital, the medical industry. So people start injecting more funds, and they start buying more shares of these companies specifically because their activities are at a peak right now. Since most of the economic activities were shut down, and constant expenditure by households, a need for passive income raised the investments, a fund to earn some kind of income to reduce cost. Yeah, and the last point is increasing investment amount, that is buy more number of shares. Now, when there is a decrease in the stock market, people normally buy more shares, to decrease average cost, and this kind of uh, puts a positive impact in a way because on suppose if today then the price is decreasing, if I buy more and more shares, there's a possibility that other people also do, and this kind of in the next day, that is tomorrow, the prices may go high because many shares have been bought today. The causes of downtrend are not different exactly. It's just the opposite of an uptrend. Whatever the points I had put in the uptrend is the opposite of all those points. It comes under the downtrend, category. The only difference may be one or 2 points. I'll just talk about those 2 points, I guess. The first is penalty levied. That is, if any government body levies any type of penalty for contravention of laws, non-compliance of laws, or any other reason. Now, any kind of penalty that is levied on any company regarding anything or any law, whether it is, not furnishing their returns or not complying to certain laws, or if there was a delay in furnishing something, there is always interest payment over and above the normal payment. So yeah, all these kind of penalties, they have a bad impact on the stock market when it comes in the news. Unstable financial position, you know what that means. Workplace problems, that is, if any kind of workplace harassment accusations against the company or its employees comes to the public eye. Now, what happens is that all genders, face some kind of harassment in the workplace, maybe from their bosses or from their colleagues. And this, when it comes into the news, it becomes a big deal because, there nobody can exactly tolerate any kind of bad behavior right now. So when it comes to public eye, the company's name and the image takes a hit, and it immediately affects the stock market. Company is sued. That is extension of the above point. Now, yeah. So above point as in, if the company has faced any allegation or accusation by any of the employee or and or outside other parties, they can be sued. The company can be sued either by the employee who has faced harassment, or it can be sued by another party who has, suppose if the company has breached a contract. Now, the points are obviously it is an increase in COVID cases, overall deaths, and decrease in recoveries. So, when the government is not doing their work well by controlling the COVID spread, it can cause a bad impact on the stock market because people start pulling out their money. Now, causes of Sidetrend, I don't think there are many. There are actually not many points exactly. I tried searching for some, and I thought some of them but there is not exactly any information out there on the internet. So I thought two of them actually. No activity, that is, there is a buying and selling taking place, as like if there is any stock that has been not come into the public view as yet, like it's not a known stock, or if it's a very big company that has a lot of debts and their market price is in the single digits maybe, and people don't exactly see that there is going to be any growth, so people don't exactly buy or sell their shares, hence there is no activity. Hence it can be that there is just a straight line maybe, exactly a straight line, or it just go up and down. It's not like the normal regular stocks. And second point is market is at its peak. That is, if the markets are at peak, investors who have already sold after hitting the peak will not look to buy again. Now, that is the second point is exactly what is happening right now. The market, the Sensex and the Nifty 50 has reached its peak. Many of the stocks have reached their peaks. The market prices are at the top. and apart from intraday, people are not exactly buying and selling shares. So what is happening is that uh, the stock market, the trend that is going on right now, it's going in a side trend. And the only way, like I said in the first video, the only way to correct a side trend is to inject more funds. Yes, that's it. This is all for the two videos. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.